it would appear that yet again I have been proven right. The people who subscribe to this channel seem to benefit from the news that are going to happen 2 years in the future. Some of them are dumbfounded. It's like, how do I do this? Do I have a crystal ball? No, I just have one element that most liberals seem to lack, and that is just common sense and pattern recognition. It was obvious that if you want to create a system where people can identify as whatever and they become whatever without needing to show any sort of proof, without needing to show any sort of evidence, then people are going to identify as whatever is convenient so they can get bonuses and perks. Like, for example, you have this conference, which was supposed to promote women in tech, and there were so many men that subscribed as non-binary that the message from the chief impact officer, I don't even know what that is, but I assume like it's a very vital and pivotal job, probably paid more than you and I put together. But he came out in order to express his concern about this issue.
This is supposed to be a joyous event that centers around you. Yesterday it became clear that there are a far greater number of cisgender men attending than we had anticipated.
That is such a raging, bigoted thing to say. Like, if these men identify as non-binary, how can you call them cisgender? How would you even know? Because again, the definition is you need to identify. It doesn't really matter if you actually live your life that way. It doesn't really matter if you have like a medical checkup or no. Like, the moment a cisgender man identifies as non-binary, according to the activists, and I think like it's actually according to the mainstream way of thinking, he becomes non-binary. That's it. And if after 5 minutes he identifies as cis again, he becomes cis again. It's called gender fluid, motherfucker. And that's a thing. Look it up. So he doesn't have a single leg to stand on here, right? But he is upset that the ideology is constraining him from achieving what he actually intends to do. But people are following the letter of the law, not the spirit. And the letter says if you go on a piece of paper and you put the X next to non-binary, you have transcended into the non-binary forum. And there is absolutely nothing that a person can say to you unless they're a raging bigot. By the way, what he is trying to articulate here is what the academics are trying to consider as non-authentic, right? So like in an academic term, but like again, no one reads the academic literature, so they don't know how to express this. And it's something that can't even be implemented. But they will say something that the academics have understood the essence of humanity. And they have managed to stereotype to such accuracy that they know exactly what a black person is like. They know exactly what a transgender person is like. They know exactly what a cis person is like. Their stereotype, their neo-Marxist stereotypes are so accurate that they can never be proven wrong, right? So what happens when you have like for instance, they believe that a black person needs to support BLM, he needs to vote Democrat, right? So like it's all of these assumptions that the left-leaning liberal thinks. However, if you have like a black person that's more like Kanye West, they will say that that is not an authentic black person, right? Because he doesn't follow the stereotype. This is what the academics are saying. It's not something that I made up. And it's the same thing with like if Donald Trump would identify as a trans woman to become like the first female president, they wouldn't buy it because it's not authentic. So this is why like he's complaining here. He's basically trying to say that all the men that mark themselves as non-binary, they're not authentic non-binary. However, doesn't fucking matter. Like the system you created is that anyone that marks himself as such can join your woman-only event, which is something that I also find abhorrent. Like, it's discriminatory. Why do we have women-only events anyway? I wouldn't be okay with a man-only event either. Like, women outnumber men. Men are in the minority. Well, why do you even have a women-only event for a thing like tech? Like, if it was something like gymnastics, I would understand. But this is using computers, right? Like, why do you think that women require such a convention? And why are you so afraid when men join the convention? But anyway, right, listen to this.
Simply put, some of you lied about your gender identity when you registered.
How would you know? Unironically, how can you know if someone lied? And even then, the rules do not exempt people from claiming they are something. Like the moment you claim you are something, you become that. It's impossible to lie, actually. It's how do you identify yourself? Well, for the purpose of entering this meeting, I identify as non-binary. You're not lying.
And as evidenced by the stacks and stacks of resumes you're passing out, you did so because you thought that you could come here and take space to try to get a job.
It's kind of funny, like this place is to take space away from men, and men are coming back in order to try to attend the meritocracy, and they are so livid about it. But take into account that I assume that those men must be good at their job, because otherwise no one would hire them, right? Like if I were to go to this convention, I know nothing about coding. It doesn't matter if I'm there. Like no one would hire me.
We need male allies. We need men who want to celebrate women, who want to work with and for women. And so,
look how proud he is. Look how proud he is of what he said. This is the liberal mindset. You know, like a lot of people used to ask me back in the day, what is the difference between a social justice activist and just a person on the left? And I was like, well, a person on the left will say that Nazis are bad. A social justice activist wants a standing ovation for saying that. Like, this is literally the high that these individuals desire. This is like what they have been fighting for all this time. It's not for the rights of other people. It's for the standing ovations. And not to mention, like the most silly thing ever. Like, it's 2023, and to say, oh, we want men that can work not just with women, but for women. It's like, dude, have you looked around? This is literally every single institution ever. Whenever you get a job, everywhere, yes, you're going to work with women, and some of those women can be your boss. No one is even shocked by this, but to create such an environment where you say this and people are clapping is absolutely bizarre to me. It's like saying, yes, we expect that people who go to work can sit there for 8 hours and do the job that they are told, and everyone is clapping and cheering, and you're like, what the fuck? Like he didn't say something interesting. I mean, you know, like, ever since you start school, chances are your boss is a woman, right? Like the teacher, the professor. You got classmates that are women. You go to university, same shit. And then when you get a job, it's the same thing. How they believe that people are shocked by this? I mean, maybe if you said this in Saudi Arabia, I would understand. But, like, it's the United States, right? Or the UK? Where did this take place? I don't know. But anyway, obviously women in the comment sections were very upset. A lot of transphobia was there to be had. And I found this hilarious. Like, number one, why this thing even exists is beyond me. Like why do you have segregation in 2023? And number two, it's like, I'm sorry, but this is the ideology you created. Like, people looked at the patch notes and they realized, all right, well, this is how the new meta is played. If I identify as this, I get perks and advantages. It's kind of like an RPG, right? When you make, like, your character in Baldur's Gate, and you're like, okay, so I can pick all these races, and what are the advantages? Well, I would like to play as an elf, but I don't like the advantages. The human advantages of getting 2 extra feats is more important, so I'm going to identify as this. And it's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening until either they change the culture or they're willing to put up with it. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.